If you've been following Gundam SEED Freedom at all, you might have noticed a new character named Agnes seemingly showing up out of nowhere and hanging out with our core group of characters. This short prequel story explains her history as the Moonlight Valkyrie and how she trained with Shinn, Rey, and Lunamaria. It even details a bit of a rivalry and resentment between all of them, in addition to a little bit of a love triangle, and the ending might even explain what's going on with Kira's red eyes. But I won't get too far ahead of myself. It opens up with Yolan and Vino working in the Minerva. You might recognize them as some of the mechanics from Gundam SEED Destiny. They were very friendly with Shinn. They didn't really get to do very much, but they were there. Suddenly, Vino looks over and takes notice of Agnes being on the cover of a military public relations magazine, being credited as the Moonlight Valkyrie. That gets the two of them, or I guess more so Vino, to start to remember some of their time at the academy together, and how she was one of the highest ranking cadets in their class, if not the highest. Yolan mentions how he thinks she's a fake, and she's acting the part for the media, she's very insincere, and how this is just some, typical play by the military in order to bolster some kind of support. Vino then decides to reach out to Agnes, because he was so 100% sure that she had a thing for him back when they were in the academy together. The story then shifts over to Agnes, with her commenting on how she's really enjoying her newfound fame and people coming up to her and asking for autographs and so on. And she even emailed Lunamaria after she was put on the cover of the magazine, but Luna didn't respond, and she believes it was out of jealousy. Agnes was sent to the Moon Defense Line, most likely by her high-ranking official parents, who wanted to put her somewhere safe where she could be a soldier but not risk her life on the daily. But that being said, Agnes was also very jealous of Shinn and Lunamaria because they were placed on the flagship Minerva, which was a very big deal. And she was jealous before they even started going out and doing all these incredible feats and winning all of these important key battles. So you can imagine how jealous she gets later. But she does also comment how she loves the name given to her by the reporter that took this story, Moonlight Valkyrie. Ever since she was a cadet, she always envisioned herself at the top. She needs a high-ranking husband one day, very competent, very strong, capable, someone at a Faith level or higher. If you remember, Faith is an incredibly high-ranking position in the Zaft military. Basically, they're allowed to do whatever they want because they are so trusted and so capable. But it might be kind of hard to find one of those, considering the number of Faith members we knew in Destiny got, well, cut in half. But I will say real quick, if you made it this far in the video, you're probably enjoying yourself, so consider subscribing so you can see more content like this in the future, because I would love to do more of this if people enjoy it. This is when Agnes gets to read Vino's email that he sent her, and she reminisces back to their time at school together and how she only ever considered interacting with him because she felt a sense of duty as one of the elite. Yeah, this girl's a little sketchy. Vino explains to her some of the important going-ons that happened on the Minerva, with two of the most important pieces being that Shinn and Rey are now in Faith, and Luna and Shinn are dating. Agnes is genuinely surprised someone she considers a loser and a failure, Shinn, could ever reach that level. And she's also incredibly surprised that Luna got a Faith-level boyfriend before she did. Then we flash back to their academy days, where Agnes is letting loose on Shinn for failing in the simulators again. Shinn was really struggling at this time. He failed in classwork and also in physical training. He was the lowest of the low, and a lot of characters commented that his only good trait was his stubbornness, his willingness to keep trying, even though he continually failed over and over and over again. Agnes is particularly pissed off because they're working as a team and his scores end up affecting her, and as the top student, getting bad scores because of some moron messing up. And she also believes that this is particularly the case because she did so well in the individual training and Shinn did so poorly, so they paired the best with the worst for the sake of trying to balance the teams out. And now she regrets doing so well in the individual stages because of that. In the midst of all her yelling and screaming, she also thinks to herself how she's particularly interested in Rey. We mentioned before she has high standards, and Rey has good grades, great piloting skills, and he's very reserved. But that thought process doesn't really go anywhere because she goes right back to screaming at Shinn. She comments how in that last battle, he only lasted 10 seconds, and Rey defends him by saying, "It was actually 14 seconds. Thanks, bro." Agnes then tells Shinn to drop out and go home if he's not going to take this seriously. But if you remember, Shinn doesn't exactly have a home to go back to with the destruction of Orb and the death of his family, so Shinn and Rey just kind of storm off. Yolan then comes up to her and tells her, hey, Shinn's actually from Orb. Luna is kind of heartbroken by the information, and Agnes just kind of feels like everyone's targeting her and making her out to be the villain, so she comments basically saying, so what? Should he just get good grades for being a refugee? Which is like, yeah, I know what you're trying to say, but maybe don't say it like that. Shinn gets a little bit more resolve to continue his training based on this situation, so he and Luna end up doing a little bit of physical training. He repeatedly loses, but he slowly improves and learns more from Luna as they go. Which is interesting because about 70% of you said that you could beat Kira in a fight, and not necessarily Shinn. But it sounds like Shinn might have been the right answer. Everybody picked Kira because we all know he ain't fighting back. Okay, that's a good point too. Luna goes to hit the showers after they're done, and Agnes is in there, and she questions why Luna would even bother, accusing her of having feelings for Shinn. Luna says no in probably the most exaggerated way possible, and Agnes does not believe her. Luna does, however, compliment his resilience. Agnes is really fed up at this point, and she yells out that effort is for naturals, and coordinators should just dedicate themselves to what they're already good at. We flash forward a bit, and Lunamaria is going to meet her boyfriend at the academy. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. Huligi? I don't know. Either way, he wants to break up with her, so that's going great. Luna almost drops her coffee, she's so startled, and this is where Luna reminisces on her own goals. She wants to be a top pilot with a capable partner and someone who she can mutually grow with. Kind of a similar idea to what Agnes was looking for out of a partner earlier. He ends up telling Luna that he actually has feelings for Agnes. Luna then recalls that Agnes was being a little bit overly friendly and even a bit flirtatious with her boyfriend at certain times, but she thought it was just kind of being polite. He begs Luna to not hate Agnes for this and apologizes again before leaving. Luna then regrets not dumping her coffee on him. As she's leaving, she immediately slams into Shinn and accidentally dumps her coffee on him instead. Shinn, as Shinn does, gets immediately pissed off, but when he sees her face and how she's feeling, he starts to try to make sure she's okay and asks if she got any coffee on her and that type of stuff. What a nice guy. This is when Luna finally lets things kind of sink in, and she really starts to understand that Agnes is untrustworthy and kind of a snake, and she decides to act like this doesn't affect her just for the sake of getting this over with, for the sake of not making things uncomfortable. She will just pretend that things are fine. We jump back to more current times, where Agnes is upset that Luna has not been telling her about all the different stuff going on in the Minerva, about her and Shinn being in Faith. And keep in mind, this is when all the crazy stuff is going on in Destiny. The Minerva is glorified in the media for its massive successes. Agnes calls it propaganda, changing the channel whenever she can, when a man in a red Ace uniform ends up walking in and agreeing with her. He refers to the Minerva as the chairman's little darling, and how it's all just glorified nonsense to kind of bolster his image. And sure enough, Agnes swoons at this man. We flash back one last time. Agnes and Luna walk in on Rey playing the piano for Gil. Gil compliments Rey and then ends up leaving. Agnes and Luna really want to know who Gil is. Is it his father or whatever else? But of course, Rey refuses to comment, but he agrees to play more when they ask him to. Shinn then bursts into the room, asking Rey for help with a question about a propulsion system, and Rey immediately stops playing and goes to help his boy out. I respect it. Shinn confides in Rey about how he's worried he's not going to get any better, and how impressive it is that Rey can do everything so easily. Rey offers him a little bit of consolation or affirmation, telling him that he has talent, that he's been getting better, that someday he'll surpass everyone, even him and especially Agnes. Shinn holds back tears, and Rey actually legitimately smiles. Shinn is determined to do better. But before we flash back to current times, this video took a long time to make, so consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll put it up in the card right now. I just restructured my tiers a little bit. Even so much as $1 a month greatly helps, considering I have no monetization currently. But anyway, we jump back to current times for the last time, and Agnes and that man from before are now an item. And his name is Leonard Valway. And Agnes feels that he's worthy to stand beside her. They revel in the defeat of Chairman Durandal, his destiny plan, and everyone turning against him, how it serves him right. Lunamaria and Shinn have joined Compass, led by Lacus Clyne, and Agnes refers to them as Durandal washouts, the same as they always have been. Isaac Jewell has given Leonard and Agnes an important assignment. They're responsible for flying the new Rising Freedom and Immortal Justice to Compass. Leonard has commented that he wants to pilot the Freedom at least once, and Agnes, with her rich, powerful parents, kind of pull on the strings a little bit in order to make this arrangement so they're the ones to fly these new machines to Compass. She made an extra point of this as Leonard's family was killed when Logos used Requiem back in Destiny. She wants to be his new support system. She wants to be there for him. And she gives him a gift. She gives him a pendant with a picture of the two of them, a matching set with hers. She tells him she wants to be his new family. They embrace, and she naturally thinks of how she can flaunt this relationship to Lunamaria when they meet soon. But then Leonard mutters to himself about replacing his lost family before he cracks a cynical smile behind her back. And the story then ends with him saying, "Thank you, Agnes." So how is this going to relate to the movie? We see in a bunch of the trailers that Luna and Shinn aren't exactly the most comfortable with Agnes being around. Is Agnes going to try to steal Shinn from Lunamaria? I don't know if I believe that, considering how much she hates him, but he is a Faith member. That's kind of her whole big deal. She wants to have this high-ranking boyfriend for whatever reason. She wants to have somebody to stand shoulder to shoulder with and be above everybody so she can feel elite and powerful. That, or she's just bullying them again, which is very likely. Then who is this Leonard? Is Leonard actually one of the members of the Foundation, maybe? Leonard made a very big point of wanting to pilot the Freedom, and when he finally got to enter the Freedom and use it, he was revealed as very sinister and not trustworthy. So did he in some way sabotage the Freedom? Did he perhaps plant something? Does it maybe connect to Kira being controlled and being villainous in the movie when we see his red eyes and so on? Because Leonard made a very big point of saying that to Agnes, someone who he knew had influence. Her parents positioned her on the moon for her safety. I'm sure then that they could get a couple of well-known, renowned pilots into the seats of some of the new test models for more than a couple minutes. In some of the other publicly released clips, we see Agnes talking to Shura, one of the new Foundation members. Could it be him, or could he maybe just know who Leonard is? Is Agnes going to end up swapping sides and maybe joining them because maybe Leonard is on their side? They do make a big point of Shura and Shinn fighting with swords and whatnot, so maybe that kind of plays a role too. Maybe Shinn and Shura are supposed to be kind of rivals in the sense that it's Luna and Agnes being rivals. This could all be coincidence because we do just see Shinn, Luna, and Kira and so on interacting with all these different members of the Foundation as well. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but clearly Leonard is up to something, and Leonard can't just be erased from history. It has to be something important. If you want to learn more about Gundam SEED Freedom, be sure to check out one of my 2 videos here detailing the box office success and some other new information, or learn everything you need to know before seeing the movie.